The Red Raiders handled business against Kansas State with a 43-20 victory, securing their first win in Manhattan since 2008. In today's video, we'll discuss the good and the bad for Texas Tech football as Joey McGuire, even if the broadcast said differently, handled that first half ending sequence beautifully. This Texas Tech defense is elite, and we need to have a conversation on the bad side when it comes to who should be returning punts for the Red Raiders. Let's get to it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's video. We will have a ton of content here on the channel when it comes to BYU week, a game that could potentially be a top 10 matchup. We'll see where the AP poll lies after, this video is recorded. But let's jump into this because there was a lot that Texas Tech, I thought, did really, really well, specifically after the first quarter. Because in the first quarter, we had talked about it here on the channel, how this Texas Tech offense with Baron Morton coming back, and he hadn't played in a few weeks, may start out slow. And truth be told, that's exactly what happened, right? And your defense kept you in the game. Sure, they gave up that long run to Avery Johnson, but once they made that correction in terms of having a spy on him and navigating through the motion that Kansas State was trying to throw eye candy-wise at the Red Raiders, things worked out pretty well. Let's go ahead and get the stats on the screen for you right now. Let's go ahead and start with this Texas Tech defense. You see the stats on your screen right now when it comes to the Red Raiders in this matchup against Kansas State. But real quick, let's go ahead and look at the overall defensive numbers for the Red Raiders. You see it on your screen right there. A top 5 scoring defense in the country, okay? Yards per game, they are 10th allowed in the country. When it comes to rushing, let's go ahead and look at that real quick, shall we? Your Red Raiders have the best rushing defense in the country. When I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that this team, as I get back on the screen here, this is the best defense Texas Tech's ever had. I don't think we can talk about any other defense and put it in the same conversation. This Texas Tech defense is the elite of the elite. It is a unit that can win you football games. It is a unit that can flat out keep you in football games, and obviously that can be said. But the thing is I think people have to realize this. I think we have the best duo in terms of defensive players Texas Tech has ever had on the same team. I don't know if that's crazy at this point. Call me out in the comments if you want. Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey are, in my opinion, and sure, call it recency bias if you want, the best defensive duo that have ever donned the scarlet and black. They are unbelievable. I know that there's a lot of hype around Jacob Rodriguez in terms of him should being, in that Heisman conversation, maybe not winning it or anything, but at least getting votes and maybe even being in New York. But damn it, we need to talk about David Bailey too. And I know we have talked about David Bailey quite a bit on this channel. Y'all do realize he has 11.5 sacks to lead the country right now. Okay? He is 3.5 away from tying the single season sack record for a Red Raider, which was Brandon Sharp back in 2009. He is 5.5 away from tying the Big 12 single season record, which was, done by Von Miller in 2009 at Texas A&M with 17. We are literally watching one of the greatest sack artists in college football history for a single season, right? David Bailey's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick. It's more so how high does he go? Each and every week, he continues to baffle me in terms of his elite athleticism off the ball, getting after the quarterback. But damn it, I think the thing that stands out to me most, and maybe was his biggest question mark coming into this season, was can he play in the run game? The answer is yes. Sheil Wood and everyone involved have really coached him up in this regard. And David Bailey and J-Rod are easily, in my opinion, the best defensive duo that have ever just donned the scarlet and black on the gridiron. It's simply unbelievable watching them every Saturday. All right, so that's the good Texas Tech defense with the focal point on J-Rod and, well, David Bailey. I mean, my goodness. When it comes to the Red Raiders in a negative light, let's go ahead and start with that. We'll get the stats back on the screen for you real quick. The slow start offensively. I already mentioned it a little bit. This was something that I thought was going to happen, quite honestly. And one of the reasons I was a little bit scared going into the week facing Kansas State. But weirdly enough, and I texted this and said so over on the Scarlet and Black Insider. By the way, it's basketball season. You're going to want to go over to the Scarlet and Black Insider. Be sure to, hey, might as well join now. We're keeping you up to date on everything, but now's the time to join there. I mentioned that I was weirdly confident going into this game on Saturday. As the day progressed and he got to about 2:30 Central Time, I felt pretty damn good about this team winning this football game. Now, I thought there would still be a slow start from the offense, and there definitely was. And I'm putting this in the bad because it was a slow start. But I will say this. I had a lot of people in my mentions not giving Shield Wood and, really Mac Leftwich. Both kind of started slow because of that big run Avery Johnson had, right? That 46-yard touchdown run. There was a lot of people talking bad. And I'll be honest, I was questioning Mac Leftwich. I will question him until he decides to really use the outside run, because when they used it, they were phenomenal, right? But they made adjustments after this slow start, and the Red Raiders outscored Kansas State after the first quarter, which Kansas State was up 7-0, 43-13. The Red Raiders came out, and it was a BTA situation, and I'll not say what BTA stands for, and I wouldn't search it either, but you could probably guess type situation. Let's just say that the B stands for belt. And they dominated in every aspect of this football game. And the slow start was definitely put behind them. And part of that was due to drops. And that's the second bad part for this Texas Tech offense. I thought there were a couple of drops in this game. Obviously, Baron Morton had a couple of bad throws as well. And you could tell he was knocking off the rust. But I thought he had a couple of those just patented Morton throws, especially deep outside, whether it was to Reggie Virgil, Caleb Payday Douglas, whatever it may be. The slow start, drops, penalties, that's what really stood out to me for the bad for Texas Tech. We'll talk about the bad a little bit more here in a second because we're going to have a serious conversation about it. But overall, not too many negatives for the Red Raiders in this football game. All right. I want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor. That is Home Field Apparel. Not even going to put them on the screen here. I'll let you know that the link is down in the comments below to go check out Home Field Apparel because the holiday season is here. It's Christmas time at the Maxfield household. I don't know about you guys, but we're putting up our Christmas tree today. And this is coming out on November 2nd because this is the motto I live by when it comes to the holiday season. Thanksgiving is a day, Christmas is a season, and I want to enjoy that Christmas tree as long as possible. And you have to have presents under the Christmas tree, and there's no better place to get those presents if you're a Texas Tech fan than homefieldapparel.com. And you can save 15% off your favorite new Texas Tech vintage t-shirt, sweater, hat, whatever it is, and save 15% with the code RBR15. So head on over to homefieldapparel.com today and get your new favorite Texas Tech vintage t-shirt for the holiday season. It's basketball season too. They got plenty of basketball stuff. Just going to let you know right now. All right. Let's talk about Joey McGuire and kind of the sequence that I thought really RG3 showed why he has little to no football IQ. And maybe that's a tough way to say it, but this was just asinine type stuff by the broadcast crew trying to defend this. Let's lay out the situation here. Texas Tech has a 4th and 1. There's about 40 seconds left in the second half, okay? Joey McGuire lets the clock run down to about 20 seconds, then calls a timeout. They are flabbergasted. Is RG3 and Jason Benetti in the booths saying this is a malpractice of coaching. I mean, I had to mute them right away. I mean, it was unbelievably awful. Not every drive has to end in a touchdown, okay? You just want to ensure, first and foremost, that you are the team that ends the half with the football, okay? And then second, you have an opportunity to get points. And Stone Harrington has proven multiple times this year, except don't ask the left upright at Kansas State. I still think I can hear that dinging in my head. But Stone Harrington can make deep field goals, okay? So the decision there was clearly field goal. Let's not give Kansas State an opportunity to have back-to-back possessions. And Joey McGuire thoroughly handled that situation with class. I mean, that was the perfect way to go. And even if he misses that field goal, it was still the correct thing to do. Okay. I just didn't understand how the broadcast was actually trying to figure out how they didn't know football, considering, I mean, Jason Bedetti's awesome. He's more of a baseball guy, but then you had RG3 on there, who I thought knew a little bit of ball, but that just went out the wayside when this situation came on. This was unreal how Joey McGuire coached in this football game. Truth be told, I thought Joey McGuire had his best coaching performance from start to finish as the Texas Tech head coach so far in his career. He was phenomenal in Manhattan, Kansas, and it really lined up with how the Red Raiders looked in the second, third, and fourth quarter. Just a chef's kiss, and you need to give Joey McGuire his flowers for how he handled that situation and really coached the entirety of this football game. All right, last positive before we get into a difficult situation. The Texas Tech offense in the second half. I mentioned it. Hand up for accountability. I was going at Mac Leftwich on Twitter. I was going at him. He was infuriating to me, just for the simple fact of this. I love his run concepts. I really do, but I think he gets stuck in a box, and I think he needs to use the outside zone more. And now I'm not saying use it all the time. Still predicate and build your offense around the inside zone, but you have to keep the defense honest. It felt like he was running into stacked boxes over and over and over again because, damn it, Kansas State knew you were running inside the tackles. When you got outside the tackles, Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams, most notably Jacoby, made some MFers miss, okay? And he was running over guys. His speed showed. Jacoby Williams is not your prototypical scat back, okay? I really watched these running backs, for Texas Tech. And every week, I think to myself, oh, this is the Detroit Lions of college football, right? And they do a phenomenal job, okay? Obviously, Cam Dickey is the David Montgomery in this situation. And then the Jahmyr Gibbs in this situation is Jacoby Williams. I thought the Texas Tech offense was phenomenal in the second half. They opened things up. They pushed the ball downfield. They used the middle of the field. And I'll tell you this as well. Isn't it crazy how different the run game looks when Terrence Carter Jr. is on the field? Again, another hand up for accountability situation. If you went to go look at Terrence Carter and his run blocking at the University of Louisiana Lafayette, I think it's just University of Louisiana now, but you go and watch it there, he's not very good, but he's been coached up. Shout out to Coach Cochran there, the tight ends coach at Texas Tech. They have done a phenomenal job, and this run game looks night and day different when Terrence Carter is on the field. He is a true difference maker, not only in the passing game, but also the run game now. And I think when you see him on the field, that's when you need him as a lead blocker on the outside, get Jacoby Williams and Cam Dickey in space. And I think this Texas Tech offense can even take another step in the run game, which is scary for other opponents, obviously. All right, last bad. As the good so far, well, we had our three goods. Texas Tech defense, Maguire decision-making, Tech offense in the second half. The two bads so far, slow offensive start with the drops and the penalties early on in this game. 3 penalties in the first quarter for Texas Tech, but they only had 1 the remaining 3 quarters. But the last bad for me in this one is this. I think we need to have a serious conversation about who should be the punt returner for the Red Raiders. I like Coy Aiken as much as anybody else, okay? But it feels like each and every week there is a play where I am yelling at my TV, Coy, please let it go, 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 let it go. Now, I will admit, a couple of those times I have been wrong, and he has taken it for, a 30, 35-yard plus return. That being said, yesterday, I think that was probably his worst performance as a punt returner. And obviously there was a play where he got lucky, where he flat out dropped it, got back on it, and luckily in that situation deteriorated a lot of the momentum that Kansas State could have had if he didn't get back on that football. But now I do wonder, is this the opportunity for a guy like Micah Hudson to get back there? Is this the opportunity for Jacoby Williams? Probably not on the Jacoby front. This is more of a Micah Hudson-centric question, if you ask me. I don't know if Joey McGuire will make the change because we know he is fiercely loyal to his players. And I'm not even trying to say Coy Aiken has been butt cheeks, but I will say he hasn't been phenomenal, right? And I think you have to question, Is there another person that can do better? And will this allow Coy Aiken to also take a little few lesser reps, if that makes sense? Because you are going to need Coy Aiken, who only had 1 for 5 yards yesterday in terms of the receiving game against Kansas State. You are going to need him as a pass catcher, okay, in this wide receiver group if you want to reach your ceiling if you're Texas Tech. So I think that that's the last bad for me. We need to have a conversation about Coy Aiken being replaced. Will he be replaced? I don't know, but I would not be shocked whatsoever if we see Micah Hudson get 1 or 2 opportunities as the punt returner for the Red Raiders in the, latter part of the season with 3 games remaining. All right. So again, the good and the bad for Texas Tech against Kansas State. The Texas Tech defense is generationally great. This may be the best defense Texas Tech has ever had, and I think I'm probably being cautious when I say maybe, and it's led by Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey, 2 of the top 10 most impactful defensive players in all of college football. You've got Maguire's decision-making in this game. I thought this was arguably his best coached game from start to finish. He was sensational in the first half, regardless of what those, not going to name call, what the announcers said for Fox during the game. Texas Tech offense in the second half, phenomenal. Even in the second quarter with 6 minutes remaining, the Red Raiders scored 43 points, only allowed 13. Yes, Texas Tech was put in some opportunistic situations because of the defense, but the Red Raider offense really shined in the second half, and I thought Mac Leftwich was in his damn bag. The bad, slow start, drops, penalties for Texas Tech, and then again, we might need to have a conversation about who should be the primary punt returner for the Red Raiders moving forward. Coy Aiken, Micah Hudson, we shall see. All right, we've got a ton of content coming out this week, people. This is the time to like the video and hit that subscribe button for 100% free Texas Tech football content and men's basketball content. Yes, Grant McCastle and crew tip off their 2025-2026 campaign in just a couple of days. This is the place to be if you want 100% free Texas Tech football and men's basketball videos all year long right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube in the Red and Black Report. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Wreck 'em Tech.